Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts. In today's video, we're going to be making this roll-up wallet, which as you can see, I'm going to use for seeds, but you could use it for something like notelets, gift it with tea bags, etc. in it. So it's a really versatile project. The project is 5 1/4 inches tall, 3 3/4 inches wide, and 2 3/4 inches deep. And I have sized it specifically for my seed packets, but you will see as we go through the project it would be easy to resize it. So if we open the strap like so, we open and roll the piece out, you can see I've got my seed packets in my various folders. I can actually fit 30 seed packets in here. At the moment there's only 13, and you can just see how the piece comes together. And then the project rolls back together like so. So without further ado, let's get started. The first point I'll make is the measurements I'm going to give you assume you want to include this wraparound section on the side here. If you don't want to do that, your first piece of cardstock, instead of the measurements I'm going to give you, would be 6 1/2 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and your first score line will be at 3 3/4 inch. So that will just give you the first page, which is this width, and the spine this side. For the outer sleeve, I have 3 pieces. The first piece is 8 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and this is scored at 5 1/4 inches. The second piece is 6 7/8 times 5 1/4, and this is scored at 1/2 inch, 4 1/4 inches, and 6 3/8. And then the final piece for the outer cover is 8 3/4 inch by 5 1/4. And this is scored at 3 5/8 and 5 1/8. We're basically going to join these pieces together. So we'll start with the first piece, which is just the piece with the single score line, and just fold and burnish. I'm actually using fabric paper for this because I wanted to create a sort of leather wallet look. The next piece will have the 1/2 inch tabs on the side. So again, we fold and burnish. So this one is going to join on here like so. And then the final section is going to add here on like so. So the first thing we're going to do is add our strips together, and I'm actually going to use red liner tape for this because this is, as I say, a fabric paper, so this will give it be nice and strong. So that's our front cover, that's our spine, and that's our back cover. This is our internal wrap, which is going to come into the middle, and then this is going to come up and over the top like so. And then I've got this excess on this side because I want this to sort of wrap around as if it was like a leather wallet. So the next thing we'll do is make our pockets. So I have 4 pieces, which are 5 3/4 times 5 7/8. Along the 5 7/8 inch side, we're going to score at 1/2, 1 1/8, rotate 180 degrees, and score at 1/2 and 1 1/8. And along the top edge, make a pencil mark at 2 1/8. Rotate to the 5 3/4 inch side, and we're going to score at 4 5/8, and we're going to use our score tool to score down to the second horizontal at 3 1/8. So you'll do that for as many pockets as you're going to put in your piece. Fold and burnish along all of your score lines. So if you have your piece in this orientation, so we've got our additional score line here over on the right hand side, we're going to cut up the first vertical up to the second horizontal, like so. Rotate and remove that rectangle, and I'm just going to take a wedge from the bottom end, so the right hand side of that glue tab. Rotate the piece back, cut up the next vertical up to the second horizontal, like so. Rotate, cut along the score line to remove the end section of that corner tab. And then I'm going to take a wedge from the ends of that. Move along to the next vertical and cut up to the second horizontal. And we're going to replicate in this corner what we've produced in that corner. Rotate to the 2 additional score lines, and we're going to cut up those score lines. And then I'm going to cut from the end of that cut line across to the pencil line on the top. You might want to draw this in first and then cut. Go in with your trimmer. I'm going to come in from this direction, put my scissors on the pencil line at the bottom, and then cut diagonally across, like so. So this is our pocket. So these 2 glue tabs, these 2 tabs here will come around and will be adhered to this inner section here. So that's going to create the pocket shape. And then these tabs will be used to adhere the pocket into the cover. If you're going to add pattern paper on, you might want to do it whilst the piece is flat. So you could fold these in, make a template on your pattern paper, cut away your desired border and stick that on the front. That's entirely up to you. I'm going to get my pockets prepared. So this is going to come around like so. This one will come around like so. You can just check at this stage whether you need to shape the ends of any of your tabs. I'm just going to shape this one. Like so, and so that will sit on the inside of the booklet. My wallets are all now prepared, and before you stick these into place, and these will be adhered with the first one butted up against the first score line. The next one is going to be butted up on the left to the left score line. The next one is going to be butted up against the next score line, and then the final one will sit in the final page like so. Before you stick those into place, you want to consider whether you want to add any paper to the background of the cover. And if you wanted to do that with a 1/4 inch border, you would have a piece which was 5 by 5 inches, 2.5 by 5 inches, 3.5 times 5 inches, 1 7/8 times 5 inches, and then 2 at 3 3/8 times 5 inches, and 1 at 1 1/4 times 5 inches. And they, of course, would be the same measurements for the front. So if you want to put pattern paper, do that now before you stick the pockets in. And you may also want to consider, depending on how you're going to decorate the front, whether you want to do that whilst the piece is flat, so before you stick the pockets in, or depending on your decoration, if you're going to be able to do that after. So I'm going to get on with my decoration and then add my folders or my wallets into place. And all I will do is add glue onto these 3 glue tabs here and then secure them into the relevant sections. So I'm going to get on with that and then I'll come back. Here's the finished wallet. I've added my pattern paper onto all the outside surfaces, and this is from the Craft Consortium Ink Drops range, and just added a simple wording on the front. I've added a strap all the way around and then a popper closure. The straps are around 9 3/4 inches long, and you can see that they cross over at the back, and I've adhered them to the back. Once the pattern paper was adhered to the inside and the outside and that was fully dry, I just used a ruler to line it up with the edge of this pouch here and then push this towards the middle to create my score line on this side here so that this could wrap around. And I've gone around the edge with a walnut stain Distress Oxide ink, you can see around there. I've covered all of the insides. Oh, I have to pack it behind. This paper from the inside and these little elements are from the Stamperia Garden House paper pad. And I've just added those onto the front of the wallets. And I have to say, overall, I'm really thrilled with how this has come out. And it is something that I will actually be keeping and using myself. So it rolls up quite easily. So that would be how it would come back together. As I said at the beginning, it would be really easy to resize this. Obviously, you could change up the width of any of the spines, change the size of these and the depth of these. So I think it is a really versatile project. And if you'd got smaller things, maybe like tea bags, for instance, you could size it so that you could have two small wallets or folders, maybe one here and one here. But as I said, overall, I'm really thrilled with how this has come out. So there we have today's project. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And until next time, thanks for watching.